you ready?
What's happening, everybody? Justin here alongside Yadi and not Lewis, unfortunately. He's unfortunately having to miss this one, but yeah, what can you do? Sometimes that's how it works. Welcome once again to our Thursday edition of Nap Reacts. We have another incredible episode for you this week as we're Kamen Rider Henshin and Finisher Part 1 by Slasher21. This is going to be an interesting one because this is another incredible Tokusatsu franchise that I got into. I actually got into it through Super Sentai. The whole thing behind that was I was watching the samurai once, Shinkenger, and at the end of one of the episodes, one of the characters from that year's Kamen Rider showed up, stole something from one of the from one of the team. And like, oh, in order to find out what happens next, tune into this episode and this episode of Kamen Rider Decade, which that's going to be several parts from now. And I was like, what the hell? And I'm like, at first it pissed me off because I'm like, don't tell me I'm going to have to start another series just to get through this. And so I'm like, screw it. I downloaded the 2 episodes in question and I watched them and it was like, oh, okay, this is actually pretty cool. And so I started like super late into like the Heisei era of Kamen Rider. And so that was what got me into this franchise. And then I started going back and watching some of their seasons, which, you know, for me, needless to say, was actually pretty cool. I haven't really watched too much or actually any of the Showa era stuff, which is what we're going to be starting with. And what's funny is like, I didn't even realize it at the time. Most of our introduction to Kamen Rider, or as it is translated as Masked Rider, were Saban's Masked Rider back in, I think, 1994, which was right alongside the season 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And so, oh yeah, it was a really interesting one because that was based on a series that aired in, I think, earlier on, like 2 years before that, or maybe like earlier. Maybe it was like earlier than that. I don't recall offhand. I mean, that's another one that you find out about like long after the fact. And also finding out, I think it was like a few weeks back, the actor that played Prince Dex from the American adaptation of Masked Rider actually passed away. I think they said he passed away the year prior, which was a sad thing to find out. Like, that's another really cool, like, live action television series that, you know, that we grew up with. But yes, so this one actually started about 5 years before Super Sentai. This started in 1971, early 1971, and created by Shotaro Ishinomori, who was the same person that created the first 2 seasons of Super Sentai. So he's responsible for 2 of the biggest Tokusatsu franchises basically ever. So
interesting.
Oh yeah, the man's 2 for 2. It's pretty crazy, but he only, like, his involvement only lasted through the era for Kamen Rider. I mean, he's still credited since he basically created the concept of the entire franchise. And so, like, even though, like, I think he passed away actually not long before the Heisei era started, and before those Masked Riders started appearing and what have you. But what's funny is, like, a lot of the designs of those and some of the modern ones are actually stuff that he had been working on prior to his death. And so, like, some of the ones, like, leading in from like 2000 to I think 2004 are like based on stuff that he had been working on leading up to his unfortunate passing.
I see.
Oh yeah. And so, yeah, so we're gonna be starting all the way from the beginning, from 1971, and we're gonna see the origins of Masked Rider and what have you. But before we get into that, this video was suggested by a member of our Discord called Genom9119, who actually joined and then rejoined our Discord not too long ago. So thank you, sir, or ma'am, whatever you happen to go by. Massive thanks to that one. With that being said, before we get into this week's main event, we're going to go ahead and pass it off to intern Steve for our preamble. So roll it.
Hey there, nerds! Intern Steve here. Before we get into this week's video, as always, since we cannot monetize these reactions, direct support, while not required, is greatly appreciated. Head on over to patreon.com/thenerdarchive. For as little as $1 a month after a 7-day free trial, you get access to all sorts of cool perks, starting with access to our special hidden section on Discord called Sector Zero, where some of our Patreon rewards are fulfilled. $5 a month gets you 1 week early access to all of our recorded content, including Nap Reacts. Also, new perks, tiers, and merch are always being considered, so head over and check it out. See what's on offer, and lend your support if you wish. As always, links to the original videos will be in the description below, so pause this, head on over, and give them a watch, and a like if you haven't already, then come back and do the same for us.
And thank you, Steve. That being said, we're going to go ahead and get into the action and make it happen.
What was that? Whoa.
お見せしよう。仮面ライダー。変身。ライダー。死ねえライダーパンチライダーキー
Oh, this is the same series.
You jump.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Okay. So that was the original Kamen Rider, which aired from 1971 to 1973 and ran for about 98 episodes, making it the longest series to date, even by today's standards. This series set up many themes that are still used today, which is a lot of them, especially going into like throughout the Showa era, started as like a grasshopper themed. And so this series follows the battles of the first two Kamen Riders, so basically Kamen Rider 1 and 2, against the Shocker Army and later Gel Shocker. The reason I call them like grasshoppers is it's essentially what Ishinomori based it on, and it was actually a suggestion by his son, based on the verse, is that his kid, I guess, were like a big fan of like grasshoppers or something like that. And so he decided to base his heroes on that, which appealed to like his son, and then obviously appealed to children pretty much everywhere. And so that's basically the kind of theme that you see throughout a lot of the Showa era. And then some of the more modern stuff, you'll see themes like that as well. And obviously they'll mix it up with some other themes on top of that. What did you think this first foray into Masked Rider?
Yeah, I kept trying to remind myself that it was a 70s show.
Oh yeah.
Glad that you said that about the grasshopper theme, because I was like, why did they choose this? It just seems like is this where the Great Saiyaman was created from? Because it looks like it.
It's funny that you should mention that, because yeah, looking back at the Great Saiyaman and his costume, it does kind of take inspiration from that. When, you know, looking back into like the Majin Buu saga, which is actually kind of odd, because I didn't even that didn't even hit me until you said something, and then that reminded me. Yeah, it does kind of look like that.
Yeah, especially this next one coming up.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, you'll see a lot of them that do look like that, and then you'll have ones that take other themes on top of that. So you'll have ones that have almost like a silver, like almost I don't want to say a cowboy theme or something like that. And then you'll see some of the in some of the later ones where it gets pretty interesting, I think.
Gotcha.
And moving on.
Yu-chan! It's the same.
Sort of. Yeah.
The noise too.
A little bit.
Rider V3 26の秘密の一つ。それがライダー遠心キックなのである。しまった。失敗か。
Did he? Guess not.
行くぞハサミじゃが。回転ダブルキック。V3 めシーザー。
Funny how the enemy explodes on the bridge and does no damage to the bridge. How does that even work in real life? That is very, very weird. Oh, I almost forgot. This one is actually a part of V3 as well. Let me get back to this one.
Okay.
行くぞ結城ジョージはこのマスクをつけることによってライダーマンとなり手術した腕が連動しアタッチメントを操ることができるのである
I see how they started a trend of changing
So that was from Kamen Rider V3 from 1973, running for 52 episodes. This series followed Shiro Kazami on his quest to gain revenge against Destron, the group that murdered his family. Later on, Riderman, the fourth Kamen Rider, is introduced as the first long-term anti-hero Kamen Rider. The original two Kamen Riders also make various appearances over the course of this series to help Shiro. And so that's another thing that you'll see is a theme throughout a lot of the Showa era Rider series is you'll see most, if not all, of like the past riders come in and help the new guy out. I guess when the battles get too tough, then some of the warriors of the past will come in and lend a hand.
Gotcha. So technically, with this show, it's like the same. It should be just one rider, and then they have the other ones come in and help.
Usually, yeah. At various points, like it's the past riders will show up, and then they're there throughout the rest of the show. Like they'll show up at they'll show up at certain, or like maybe just like during a special or a movie or something like that. Because yeah, they'll have team up specials throughout like the entirety of the franchise. And then another thing I wanted to point out that I didn't point out in the beginning is their transformation devices are almost always a belt of some form.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll see like many variations of that. And then some will use like a wrist device in conjunction to that, or like a ring as well. But generally their transformation devices are belts.
I like that so far. You can definitely tell like it's not Power Rangers, you know.
Oh yeah.
They didn't, even though it's the same people, like they did not choose to make the same thing over and over. So I like that. The fighting style, you can see more of the and whatnot. And
oh yeah,
it doesn't keep jumping back and forth from camera angles and whatnot.
True enough. And plus, it only focuses on one and sometimes two heroes rather than 5, 6, 7,
right?
Or in some seasons, like up to 12, which gets kind of outrageous as we've seen. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting one. Like I said, I haven't seen a lot, or really, like I said, any of these older ones. But like I've seen clips and videos and stuff like that. I've seen some of the specials from the newer modern stuff where some of the old ones show up, which is generally pretty cool. But then of course it's also higher definition than what we have here.
Gotcha.
All right, and moving on.
Shut up! ジン・ケイスケはレッドアイザーとパーフェクターによって仮面ライダー X にセットアップするのだ。
I was like, is he flying? No, underwater.
Oh no! Uh-oh.
どうだ X ライダー
X ライダー今日も行く仮面ライダー X と
X.
X キー
Oh, yeah. Whoops. Okay. So that was Kamen Rider X from 1974. That only ran for 35 episodes. The series follows Kisuke Jin and his father Keitaro Jin are attacked by the God of Darkness, God or God. Kisuke and Keitaro are both mortally wounded in the attack however, before he dies, Keitaro transforms his son into Kamen Rider X. Many of the monsters in Kamen Rider X faced were based on Greek mythology and later on various animals and historic figures. And then another thing that I should point out as well is pretty much one of the big common tropes with Kamen Rider is their finisher is almost always a variation of the rider kick, which is what they call it. And so almost always you'll see like one of the main finishers is like they jump into the air and they have this weird pose and then they kick their opponent, and that's basically where all their power is coming from. Yeah, pretty much. And then I'll put Mr. Torg on the screen because he likes explosions. Explosions!
Yeah, when you mentioned like they like the mythological stuff.
Oh yeah.
It was like that villain was like Aquaman looking with the Poseidon thing.
Oh yeah.
That made sense now.
Oh, absolutely.
And the underwater bike.
Oh yeah.
It was I thought it was flying. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm flying, but then I see the bubbles. I was like, oh wait, nope. Underwater.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
The suit looked like it looks like Ant-Man. The old Ant-Man.
Yeah. A little bit. Another thing I should probably mention is like there's always a motorcycle when it comes to like Kamen Riders. They'll always have a motorcycle that they're on. And so every rider will have his own version of a motorcycle. Bit of a fun fact, I think it was Suzuki for like the longest time right up until like midway through the 2000s. I think 2004, 2005 possibly. You know, somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, or I'll have an annotation up or something like that. They went from Suzuki to Honda, and then I think 1 or 2 seasons used Ducati for their motorcycles. But yeah, the motorcycles are another common theme for this franchise.
No, that I got because of the rider. But yeah.
Gotcha. To be honest, that part didn't even click with me, but you know. The more you know. Do. Moving on.
That's like a shellfish one. Okay.
Yeah, it does kind of look like that.
Oh, shoot.
There's that foamy blood again.
Yeah.
That was Kamen Rider Amazon from 1974 and ran with just 24 episodes, making it the shortest series to date. Daisuke Yamamoto, an orphan lost in the Amazon, has grown up with the Amazon tribe and led a peaceful life until his tribe was attacked by Golgos. Before dying, his tribe elder turned Daisuke into Kamen Rider Amazon. This was the first rider to not use a belt to transform, so it was basically more of like mutating rather than transforming. But with it being the mid 70s, obviously they couldn't really do it that way, obviously because of the technology and whatnot. It was also the first series to not have any previous riders appear, although Amazon meets his seniors in the next series.
That's cool. Yeah, I was gonna say like this is probably where Mortal Kombat got their inspiration for Liu Kang, because he looked like.
It could be.
I'm just kidding. This being in the Amazon, I'm guessing they don't have motorcycles, just because the way this was set up. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think he still did, but I'm not 100% on that. The comments will probably correct me, but
yeah, it will be interesting to see.
How
they kind of wrote this whole series.
Oh yeah. Well, what's funny is like, I mean, yeah, he comes back during like at points like throughout, like not just this era, but in ones in the distant future and whatnot. And then they do, and because this was like one of the the shortest series of any of the seasons in this franchise, there really wasn't much there, and so they wound up doing like a whole new series in like the mid to like the late 2000s, going into the 2010s, where it was where it became Kamen Rider Amazons, and so they wound up having more than one, and so that kind of furthered that series and introduced additional characters and additional versions of Kamen Rider Amazon.
Gotcha.
So, and that's obviously something that we'll see in future episodes.
おっとまったガンガルこの姿じゃ勝負にならずでいくぞ変身ストロンガーライダーストロンガー天が呼ぶ地が呼ぶ人が呼ぶ悪を倒せと俺を呼ぶ俺は正義の戦士仮面ライダーストロンガーよし
Them explosions, man.
Yeah. And all from being kicked in the shoulder, no less. It makes you wonder.
So the weak point.
Apparently. That was Kamen Rider Stronger from 1975. This was intended to be the final Kamen Rider series. Shigeru Joe joins Black Satan, is a weird name for a enemy faction. Murder of his best friend and mentor. Knowing the organization to be the culprits, he allows himself to undergo an operation that changes him into Kamen Rider Stronger. Later on, Black Satan is defeated and a new group known as Delzer becomes the series' enemy. Stronger is joined by another character known as Electrowave Humanoid, which is another character that we'll take a look at down the road. I've actually, for some reason, it wasn't in this episode, but there's some other Kamen Rider reaction videos that we can take a look at that will include that secondary character, which is a female warrior who later sacrifices herself to save Stronger from a powerful opponent. This was also the first series to have a temporary power-up for the main character. So this series basically kind of tested out almost like a super form for the main rider character, which would later become like a staple for the heroes in later seasons.
Gotcha. So this one said that basically that new trend in the show.
Pretty much. Yeah, it was the prototype for it. And obviously, I mean, the over exaggerated suit, like it made like, and obviously it being in the name, Kamen Rider Stronger, and then like the way it was designed, it's like big muscles and all that crap. So it's like he's obviously super strong.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, now we made that makes sense now. Why is it called Stronger?
Oh yeah. I thought it was definitely one of the more interesting looking suits because it's like it definitely seems a bit over exaggerated, but then it makes perfect sense. Like they want to make you realize that he's like super powerful and stronger than anything. But then again, even he winds up having trouble with some of his enemies, and then being helped out by somebody else, and then getting a stronger form that's only there for like I think an episode or two. I could be wrong.
Can I make it special?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially for the time. Being there's only so much you can do with the technology that they have. All right, and moving on.
Kamen Rider Sky Kid! 俺の負けだ。しかしお前も負けたな。私も？ここはネオショッカーの処刑場だ。生きて戻れん。
It's what he made. But he made a noise with. Oh wow.
Yep. It's crazy. So that was Kamen Rider Skyrider from 1979, running for 54 episodes. It follows Hiroshi Tsukuba, who is kidnapped and transformed into a Kamen Rider as a means to help Dr. Shiro escape Neo Shocker, which is basically a new version of an enemy faction from the first Kamen Rider season. During the course of the series, previous riders appear, and Kamen Rider is dubbed Skyrider by Kamen Rider Stronger to differentiate him from the original Kamen Riders. This was a revival of the franchise after 4 years off of broadcast, intended to be a remake of the original series. The idea was slowly phased out as references to the past were made, and senior Kamen Rider made guest appearances.
Gotcha. So they change your mind.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I think, like it said, like 4 years away after, Stronger was supposed to be the final series. And then, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what made them decide to kind of bring it back. I don't know, maybe it was like fan demand or something like that, because that does happen sometimes.
That could be. I liked in this one, the helmet looks more like a cricket than the previous ones, like the mouth part of it.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Yep, that one.
Oh, yeah. The enemy, like, just it goes out with the whimper and rather weird thing. You expect them to go out with an explosion, and there we go. Yeah, man. Just Mr. Torg is disappointed. But yeah, no, I really like the look of this one because it's more, it looks more modern than a lot of the stuff that came before, which, you know, it makes sense.
Right.
And
yeah.
another thing that I've noticed that outside of Kamen Rider Stronger, a lot of the riders, you see like the eyes, they have almost like a headlight or tail light looking eyes to them on the visor. Whereas Stronger looked like it had like almost like the solid eyes with like holes drilled out so the guy in the suit could see. And then, which was also akin to like some of the early Super Sentai seasons as well that did that.
Gotcha.
And his, I think, was also based more on flight. So he could fly where a lot of the others couldn't, I think, except for that one, was it, I'm thinking it was V3, where they did that little flying animation with the kick, but...
That could be, yeah.
But yeah, this one was definitely more of a flying thing. And like the reason I know this, I know besides the name, is one of the first shows that I saw him in was when he made an appearance in like the very first Rider series that I watched, which was what got me into the series in the first place. And it basically, the series that I watched, it dealt with like dimensional travel, and so he would travel from like one dimension to the next, you know, meeting different characters and whatnot, and then like eventually getting into this big drawn out battle and what have you. But I don't want to get into too much deal with that because I don't want to spoil it too much. But
Gotcha.
yeah, basically what I know from this is like, or any of the Showa era riders, is basically what I've seen in clips and some of the other series that I've seen, and basically what I'm reading here for the quick facts, as it were, because I actually haven't sat down to watch any of these early Rider series, but maybe down the road.
Yeah, there's so much to watch.
Oh yeah, but hey, you know, if we're able to watch it, you know, gives us some more stuff to talk about.
Yep.
All right, and moving on.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that was the last one for this episode. That is Kamen Rider Super 1 from 1980, running for 48 episodes. Wanting to become an astronaut, Kazuya Oki undergoes an operation that allows him to survive in space. The area where he is operated in is attacked by the Dogma Empire, and Kamen Rider Super 1's peers are all killed. Super 1 has special gloves that allow for different attack types.
Super blue, super green. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
You have to see a little bit there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This is another one that looks pretty good for the time. And like you notice, like his gloves had those, I don't know if you want to call them like tassels kind of hanging off the side, almost like some old school cowboy gloves, which I thought was pretty interesting. But then obviously, you know, those disappear when he turns his hands into different colors for the different types of attacks. Obviously, it looks like there's other different colors that he uses, but obviously they didn't show everything, but basically just enough to kind of give you an idea of what he can do and like the elements that he can use.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny, like that flame attack, like going across the screen and basically traveling with the screen as he's moving. And then in another scene, it's like, it didn't even look like it was close to hitting him. And yet he still had to kind of jump out of the way, which.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think because they actually did practical effects there, they had to make it seem like it, you know, but they had to keep it away. And of course, production in the
I get it. You know, you gotta keep your suit actors in that safe, because obviously those costumes are not fireproof.
Yeah, but good on them trying though.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, like for some things, I actually kind of prefer practical effects to a lot of the special effects. Even though CG special effects have come so far in recent years, it's pretty crazy. But you know, it's nice. It's nice when even some of the modern stuff uses like practical effects and things like that.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate those too, especially when they make it work.
Oh, absolutely. And so that is the introduction into Masked Rider. So what do you think so far?
It's cool. I mean, I've never heard of it from this before, so coming into it blindly, right? It's cool. I like the similarities that we can see from Power Rangers, of course, because that's at least the first thing I watch. But you can tell, like, it's of course is not Power Rangers. Then they did differentiate from each other, which is a great thing to do. Of course, not to give the public the same thing over and over and over.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's that was kind of the point. Like because I mean, yeah, Masked Rider being like 5 years prior when Totoro actually came up with the idea for Super Sentai, like 5 years after that. And it's just like, it makes sense, because you definitely want to come up with something that's not like entirely the same, because then it makes audiences wind up tuning out. It's like, oh, it's more the same stuff. Why would I want to watch it? And then it winds up failing before it ever gets off the ground. And, you know, there you go. And then by that same token, I would imagine it would probably wind up affecting the viewership of some of the other stuff that they've got going well. But it all worked out. And then, of course, with the popularity that Power Rangers wound up getting, especially especially when it first came out in the early 90s with the American adaptations, really, like, I think really kind of helped boost the Sentai and that much further. Even though I think a lot of people didn't even, kind of pick up on where it came from until like much later. But then once that cat was out of the bag, it was all uphill from there.
Makes sense.
Oh yeah. All right. So that covered the first 7 seasons. So that's the first half of the of Showa era. And that's, I wasn't sure. I didn't want to put too many into this one episode, because I wasn't sure, how long the conversations were going to be and what have you. Like the next few from here on, only 1 or 2 are actual like for the next episode, only 1 or 2 are actual like series. And then like a few after that are just going to be like movies and what have you. And so like I guess the like the popularity of it kind of started to wane after a while. And so like between that and like maybe kind of they were like running out of ideas or something like that. And I think it also had a fair bit to do with the death of like the original creator. And so they kind of just scaling it back, I think maybe a little bit to kind of just wind it down before I think coming back in like the year 2000 and restarting it there with a lot of like some of the old ideas, which you'll see like in the first few seasons of that. But I think that'll being like part 3, but
Gotcha.
oh yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to more of this and getting your guys' takes on it and seeing what everyone else thinks.
Of course. Yeah. We'll see what the next one brings.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we should be able to get Lewis back on here as well, because I definitely want more of his input as well on this. Well, that'll just about do it for this week's episode of Nap Reacts. We hope you enjoyed this bit of content as much as we did bringing it to you. If you did, smack that like button as hard as you can with conviction and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Monday on Nap Reacts, we're going to be checking out Random CSGO Bullshittery Part 5 by Soviet Womble. So do look forward to that one. Follow us on all of our social platforms through the links in the description. The Linktree is your one-stop shop for everywhere we operate, including our Patreon as well as our Discord, which you will thoroughly enjoy. It is absolutely free to join, so stop by, shoot the breeze, play some games, and hang out with nerds just like you. Boil it all down, what can they do? Yadi.
Click all the things.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely click all them things.
You heard the man. Click all the things and join our incredible community. We look forward to seeing you there. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get the hell out of here for Yadi. This is Justin. Thanks again for watching Nap Reacts, and we'll see you, all of you, in the next episode. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.